Well, the leaves are falling, and inventory continues to rise. It's becoming a full-blown buyer's market. But wait, why is the average and median price of a home in the GTA gone up month over month? After this final episode of approaching the market from the buyer's perspective, I'm going to attempt to shed a bit of light on some of the information that could be hiding the real state of real estate here in the GTA and southwestern Ontario. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Mike Brown here with Remax in Toronto. Fireside chat number 3. It's really hot in here. You've identified your dream home or condo, and you'd like to try and purchase it. Well, it's likely that this property is being offered for sale in one of 3 ways. It's either been priced for multiple offer scenario and there's an offer submission date, so you're going to be competing and likely paying more than the asking price. Or perhaps the property has been listed and they are requesting a minimum of 24 to 48 hour irrevocable on your offer. What that essentially means is that they're hoping to invoke a competition situation by having enough time to contact all the interested parties who have shown the property up to that date. And third, and probably the best case scenario as a buyer, is that the seller's chosen to price the property slightly above their expectation. Therefore, they're going to be negotiating one-on-one and they'll look at offers at any time. But for the sake of today's fireside chat, we are going to address the most stressful situation, the multiple offer scenario. Before we put an offer in for you on this property, we have 4 main objectives. The first, obvious one, is to try and identify value. The second is going to be to try and determine just how much over the asking price properties in that neighborhood have been selling for. Third, how many competing bidders did most of these multiple offer scenarios receive? And fourth, we're going to take the information from the first 3 questions and try and devise a strategy that works for you. So let's talk about value. We need to find some comparable sales. I prefer to use recent sales within the last 30 days. I think it's important that we deal with the flavor of the market, so to speak. I would rather make adjustments for minor differences in criteria than use an outdated sale to try and adjust the sale price. You also have to understand the neighborhood. Not all neighborhoods are the same size. So you have to know how far afield you're looking for these comparables. In the end, we're trying to identify a minimum of 3 comparable recent sales to help to identify value. By the way, if you're competing for a condo, well, that search for prospects will be a little bit easier, given that there's only limited variation to condo size and floor plan in each particular condominium building. So what other than comps can help us to determine value? Well, I like to use a filter on Toronto's MLS system. This is a filter that hones in on the properties that sold over the asking price. So we're looking for all the sales of homes in the last 30 days in that neighborhood that sold over the asking price. This is really going to give us a good indication of just how hot that particular neighborhood is at this time. So we've identified the comparable sales and we've investigated all the properties that have sold over asking in the last 30 days in your neighborhood of choice. And one seller received 46% over the asking price. How many offers did they have to attain that price? How could we possibly know? When you're working with Michael Brown, you're going to know. Once I start working with a buyer and we've identified your neighborhood of choice, I'm going to make an effort to inspect every property that comes available, whether it meets your criteria or not, if it's been listed for a multiple offer scenario. And this is why. By booking an inspection on all the properties priced for multiple offer in your neighborhood of choice, I will then in turn be notified by Broker Bay. What is Broker Bay? That sounds like a topic for a future episode. As I was saying, I will be notified by Broker Bay on the offer date as to how many offers have been registered on that property. Now, this is great information to have. Not only does it give us insight into the pulse of the market in that neighborhood, but it's probably going to help to eliminate some of the stress that you're going to feel on offer date by knowing just how many possible competing bidders there could be for that house or condo of your dreams. Now we've got all this information and we need to devise a strategy. So it's at this point I'm going to reach out to the listing agent with a few questions. Is your seller prepared to entertain a preemptive offer? Do you have a pre-sale home inspection report available for us to review? What's your client's preferred closing date? How many rounds of negotiation are you anticipating? Often a seller will be advised by the listing agent to have a second round. Try and squeeze a little bit more, if you will, out of the interested parties. And what additional considerations do we have to make? Is your offer going to be conditional or firm? Do we need to do our own pre-purchase home inspection? Generally speaking, in a competition situation, a firm offer will be favored over any conditional offer. So you can pretty much expect that if you do have to have one or more conditions, you're likely going to have to pay for that comfort level. Truth is, most sellers will entertain a short financing condition, but they're probably going to be somewhat reluctant to accept a condition based on your home inspection. It's for that reason I like to get it out of the way either with their inspection report or by getting you to conduct your own inspection prior to the offer submission date. Earlier we spoke about a second round of negotiation that may be recommended or preferred by the seller. From my experience, it's probably best that you put your best foot forward from the get-go. Lastly, but probably most important, how much deposit can you afford to submit with your offer? Generally speaking, the industry standard is about $50,000 nowadays, but truthfully, the more the better. The deposit is really going to be the security of your offer. The part of the offer that gives the most amount of confidence to the seller and the seller's agent that you're actually able to afford the house and you're going to be there on the closing date. We spoke a couple episodes ago about the commitment for financing. This is also something that you're going to want to make available with your offer. In addition to this deposit, you are going to need to provide evidence that you've actually got the funds certified or a bank draft in hand. Many agents ask for this on offer day, but very few agents on the purchaser side can deliver. Having this physical evidence, either by photograph or in the hand of your agent at the presentation, is going to put you ahead of the competition. So I think that kind of gives you a decent overview of how to prepare yourself for the multiple offer scenario. And hopefully you're going to be successful. Don't forget, if you need some more information on the subject matter that we've covered in these fireside chats, just reach out in the comments below, and I'd be happy to get back to you. Looks like it's time to get a look at that inventory story. And if you're getting value from these videos, feel free to pass them along and perhaps consider liking and subscribing. And until the next episode, this is Mike Brown with RE/MAX, uncovering the real state of real estate here in the GTA and Southwestern Ontario.